Hey y'all, so I promised this year that I would get on here and talk about this more. So here we go. So I just wanted to chime in on a conversation. I heard a young lady earlier today. She made a video talking about, I think the title of her video was Are Demons Real? And she was talking about how she a couple of times she woke up and demons were having sex with her in her sleep, and how she had experienced a lot of different things because of the lifestyle that she had been living, and how now I think she's a believer now. And she was just talking about how she was going to start sharing more things about what God has shown her. So I just wanted to also chime in on that and also share a bit of my testimony and my experience. Those of you who are on my page, you all know that I do I talk about my business, my lifestyle, but I am definitely a woman of faith, and I am born and raised in the church. So I grew up around a lot of spirituality. But do you know that most of the things that I have learned in the last few years, I did not learn while I was growing up in church? I've gone through so much spiritual warfare in the last few years, and I've learned more about spiritual warfare because of the things that I have gone through within the last few years. And I believe and know that God allowed it all to happen for a reason. So I grew up in church, so I definitely believe that there is a God, because I've had many encounters with God, encounters where I feel it was with angels. I grew up seeing people go through what we now call deliverance, just meaning seeing someone in church manifest demons and the demons having to be cast out of that person. We now call that deliverance. A lot of churches, some, not a lot, but there are some churches now that specialize in doing deliverance with people who feel that they need to go through that. And I do feel a lot of Christians still need to go through deliverance and don't know that. But I just want to let me stay on topic. I want to talk about what the young lady was talking about. She was talking about going to sleep and waking up and feeling like that she had been raped or had sex with demons in her dreams. And I just want to share that I too in the past have had that experience, which is what also led me to rededicate my walk back with Christ, because I went through a time period where I went through a divorce, and I did what most, Christians call backslide. I kind of backslid after my divorce. I was hurt and just kind of confused about a lot of things, and I had been married for a long time. And you know how it is after you separate or break up or a marriage, and you have that freedom back, and you just start, you get out there and you just start doing things that you weren't doing. So I started to do stuff that I had not done because I got married at such a young age. I really didn't have that time where like everybody normally parties or go to college and just get, but wow, I didn't really have that because I got married really young, like right after a few years after I graduated high school. I got married like in my early 20s. So I really just did not have the lifestyle like a lot of young people. So at that time, I just really just started going back doing things that I had not experienced. I started partying again. I started dating people. I just started, living life, and I wasn't going to church. I was still praying. I was still, I still had a relationship with God, but I was backsliding. It's just the plainness of, I was backsliding, and I was just having fun, and I was just, just doing stuff like just being angry and reckless, I guess I would say. And so I had started seeing this guy. I did not know it until after the fact that this guy was in the occult, and I'll make a video talking about what that means later. But he was in the occult, and it was later on after I wasn't dealing with this guy anymore. I was still trying to date off, I was still like meeting people, trying to date, but by this time I was making my way back to God. I was settling down, and I was rededicating my life back to God. I knew that, okay, I'm straying, I'm not living right, I need to get it together. And at this time, I started to having a lot of spiritual warfare, which I really didn't know what it was at the time. And just like that young lady said, I started experiencing a lot of things in my sleep. So in my sleep, I would dream about things like having sex. And like she said, I woke up feeling like I had sex in my dreams. And I started praying about it, because one thing that alarmed me was I started seeing things even in my pictures, and in some of my old pictures I had, my eyes was like really dark. Like I felt like I saw a demon in my picture. And so I started praying, and God started leading me to different pastors that were talking about, deliverance, demon possession, and and just different things. So what I wanted to share with you all, what I learned was, when you have a dream and you've had sex in your dream, that the demons that sleep with you in your dream, they're called incubus and succubus. One is a male, one is a female. And when you have sex with these demons, it's not just a wet dream at all. This is a spiritual encounter. And see, that's why God tells us not to fornicate, not to have sex outside of marriage, not to commit adultery. All y'all know what I'm talking about. The sexual sins that we were told not to have. This is why God tells us not to do it, because it's an open door. And when you sin, you give the devil, you give the enemy legal right to now access you. And the way he accesses you is in your dream. And when you are asleep, the things that happen in your dream, you think it's just a dream, but it's really real. It's just like that movie Freddy Krueger. How when Freddy Krueger, he couldn't do any, he didn't do anything to them while they was awake, but when they fell asleep, he come and he'd attack them in their sleep. So they had to try to keep from falling asleep. Once they fell asleep, he'd attack them in their sleep. That's how the enemy does us. He catch you when you're asleep, so your guard is down, but you've already sinned, so you've given him the legal right. So now that demon incubus and succubus, they come and they sleep with you, so you're literally sleeping with a demon. And do you know, it doesn't stop there. For a lot of people, they've been married in the spirit realm with the incubus and succubus, so they call them spirit husband and spirit wife. I want y'all to look this stuff up. It's called a spirit wife, spirit husband, and it's incubus, succubus spirit. And so a lot of people, they either do not ever get married because of these two demons. And some people get married, and guess what? The demons destroy their marriage, because if that demon married you and hit the spirit, they now take possession over you. And when you try to marry someone, or you do marry someone in the physical, guess what they do? They do everything in their power to destroy the marriage, or to keep you from never getting married. So that is why God tells us he does not want us to sin, because he doesn't want us to give the legal right to the demons to access us and ruin our lives. It is way deeper than you guys know. And I can go on and on and on, but it's a much deeper conversation. But I just wanted to share a little bit of that and tell you guys, if you've ever experienced that, you need to look this up, and you need to start praying and asking God to help you find somewhere, and you need to go through spiritual deliverance.